Come closer to the fire, friend. Yes, I see you standing there in the darkness, watching, wondering if your eyes are playing tricks on you. They're not. I'm real as the stones beneath your feet, real as the stars above your head, real as death itself. My name is Silas Crow, and I've been dead longer than you've been alive. Don't run. Running won't help out here in the desert, not when the sun's down and the temperature's dropping, and there's nothing for 30 miles but sand and scorpions and things that have no business having names. Besides, I'm not here to hurt you. If I wanted that, you'd already be screaming. No, I just want to tell you a story. You see, death comes to the desert in many forms. Heat stroke, rattlesnake bite, dehydration, murder. But the worst deaths, the ones that stick with you even after your flesh has turned to dust and your bones have bleached white under an unforgiving sun, those deaths come from greed. I should know. I died 3 times before I stopped counting. Let me tell you about the first. It was April of 1847, and I was 26 years old, still had skin on my bones and blood in my veins, and a heart that beat steady as a drum in my chest. I was a scout for a silver mining operation out of Santa Fe, good with a rifle, better with cards, and stupid enough to trust the wrong man. That man's name was Gabriel Cortez. Gabriel was everything I wasn't. Educated back east, smooth talking, knew which fork to use at fancy dinners, and how to smile at rich men while picking their pockets clean. He had plans, Gabriel did. Big plans. Plans that involved a mine shaft 40 miles northeast of Socorro. A mine shaft the local Apache said was cursed. A mine shaft that previous expeditions had entered and never left. Superstition, Gabriel told me over whiskey at a cantina that smelled of sweat and desperation. Just stories to keep gullible white men away from what they're guarding. And what are they guarding? I asked, already knowing the answer but wanting to hear him say it. Silver, he said, his eyes gleaming like the metal itself. Veins of it thick as your arm, running deep into the mountain, enough to make us both rich as kings. Rich as kings. Those 3 words have killed more men than all the bullets ever cast. I should have said no. Should have finished my whiskey, walked out into the night, found honest work somewhere that didn't involve Apache curses and doomed expeditions. But I was young, and I was broke, and I believed that men like Gabriel and me could outsmart fate if we were clever enough, quick enough, ruthless enough. We assembled a crew, 6 men total, all of them desperate in one way or another. There was Rodriguez, who owed money to men who collected debts with knives. There was McCready, running from a murder charge in Texas. The Dutch twins, Hans and Klaus, who'd gambled away their family farm and had nowhere else to go. And there was Thomas, a freed slave heading west, looking for a fresh start in a world that wouldn't give him one. Good men, mostly. Doomed men, certainly. We rode out on a Tuesday morning, the kind of morning where the sky is so blue it hurts to look at, and the air is still cool enough to make you forget that by noon the heat will be trying to kill you. The Apache watched us go, their faces impassive, saying nothing. They didn't need to say anything. We could read the message in their silence. You're already dead. You just don't know it yet. It took us 3 days to reach the mine. 3 days of riding through landscape that got progressively more wrong with each passing mile. The vegetation changed, became twisted, unhealthy. We'd find animal skeletons scattered around, nothing left but bones picked clean. No sign of what had killed them or what had eaten them. At night, the coyotes howled, but the sound was off, discordant, like an orchestra where every instrument was slightly out of tune. "You hear that?" Thomas asked on the second night, staring into the darkness beyond our campfire. "Hear what?" Gabriel asked, though I could tell by the tension in his shoulders that he heard it too. "Sounds like screaming," Thomas said. "Far off. Underground, almost." We all heard it then, once he said it out loud. A sound like wind through a narrow tunnel, or like distant voices calling for help, or like both at once. It seemed to come from the direction we were heading. "Wind," Gabriel said firmly. "Just wind through rock formations. Creates all sorts of strange sounds." McCready spat into the fire. "That ain't wind, Cortez. That's something else." "Then turn back," Gabriel said, his voice cold. "Ride home. Tell everyone you were too scared of ghost stories to become rich." Nobody turned back. We were all too proud, too desperate, too stupid. We reached the mine on the 3rd day, just as the sun was starting its descent toward the western horizon, painting the desert in shades of blood and gold. The entrance was just a dark hole in the mountainside, maybe 7 feet tall and 5 feet wide, shored up with ancient timbers that looked like they might collapse if you breathed on them too hard. And that sound, that screaming wind sound, it poured out of that entrance like water from a spring. "Well," Gabriel said, dismounting, "we're here." "Maybe we should wait," Rodriguez suggested. "Set up camp, start fresh in the morning." "And waste half a day?" Gabriel shook his head. "We go in now. Few hours of exploration before dark. If there's silver, we'll know by sunset." He was lying, of course. He'd always planned to go in immediately, before any of us had time to think too hard about what we were doing. That was Gabriel's gift, keeping people moving, keeping them from asking the right questions until it was too late. We lit torches and entered the mine. The temperature dropped immediately, as if we'd walked into winter. Our breath misted in the torchlight. The walls were slick with moisture that had no business being there in the desert, and they seemed to pulse almost, like we were walking through the throat of some massive beast. "Silver," Gabriel announced after 50 feet, pointing to veins of metal running through the rock. Just like I said. But the silver was wrong. It was too bright, almost luminescent, and it seemed to move when you weren't looking directly at it, like mercury, like living metal. "We shouldn't touch it," Thomas said quietly. "Nonsense," Gabriel said, pulling out a pickaxe. We came here to mine silver, so let's mine silver. He struck the wall. The mine screamed. I don't mean the sound we'd been hearing, that distant wind voice. I mean the mine itself screamed, a deafening shriek that felt like it was happening inside our skulls, behind our eyes, in the hollows of our bones. The walls shuddered. Dust and small rocks rained down from the ceiling, and something woke up. We felt it before we saw it, a presence that had been sleeping in the deep darkness, disturbed after God knows how many centuries. The temperature dropped further, our torches flickered, and that smell hit us. The smell of decay and metal and something else. Something that made our bodies know, on an instinctive level, that we were no longer the apex predator in this place. "Run," McCready whispered. We ran, but the mine didn't want to let us go. The tunnel seemed to stretch, to elongate, like we were running on a treadmill. Our torches went out one by one, until we were stumbling in darkness, broken only by that strange, luminescent silver, which pulsed faster now, like a heartbeat, like the mine was excited. Behind us, we heard it coming, heavy footsteps that shook the ground, breathing that sounded like wind through a graveyard. And worst of all, voices, human voices, calling our names in tones of welcome and hunger. "Silas," my mother's voice called from the darkness. "Silas, honey, come back. Come back to Mama." My mother had been dead for 3 years. Rodriguez fell first. One moment he was running beside me, the next he was gone, yanked backwards into the darkness with such force I heard his spine break. His scream lasted maybe 2 seconds, then stopped abruptly, replaced by a wet, tearing sound. The Dutch twins went next, pulled sideways into a tunnel that hadn't been there a moment before. I saw Hans's hand reaching out, grasping at nothing, then disappearing as if the rock had simply swallowed him. Thomas and McCready and Gabriel and I, we made it to the entrance. We could see daylight ahead, blessed daylight, just 50 feet away. We were going to make it. We were going to survive. Then Gabriel stopped running. I didn't realize it immediately. I was focused on that rectangle of light, on survival, on escape. But McCready shouted, and I turned, and I saw Gabriel standing in the center of the tunnel, his face illuminated by that pulsing silver light, and he was smiling. "It's beautiful," he said. "Can't you see it? It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." "Move!" I shouted, grabbing his arm. But his arm was cold, corpse cold. And when I looked at his eyes, really looked, I saw that they'd changed color. They were silver now, solid silver, reflecting the light like mirrors. "I'm staying," he said. "I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be a king." "You're going to be dead." He laughed, and it wasn't his laugh anymore. "Dead? Silas, I've never been more alive. And soon, you'll understand. You'll all understand." Then he grabbed me, his grip impossibly strong, and he pulled me backwards, toward the darkness, toward the thing that was waiting in the deep. Thomas saved my life. He tackled Gabriel from the side, breaking his grip, and the two of them went down in a tangle of limbs. Gabriel was screaming now, but it wasn't fear. It was rage. The rage of something being denied its prey. "Go," Thomas shouted at me. "Go!" MacCready and I ran. We ran for the entrance, for the light, for the world outside that still made sense. Behind us, Thomas's screams joined Gabriel's, and then there was just silence, heavy and complete. We burst out of the mine into the cooling evening air, gasping, sobbing, alive. For exactly 30 seconds, we were alive. Then MacCready's chest exploded, not from inside out, but from outside in, as if something had reached through his ribcage and pulled his heart out through his back. He looked down at the hole in his chest, confused, tried to say something, and fell dead at my feet. I spun around, reaching for my revolver, but Gabriel was already there. Except it wasn't Gabriel anymore. His skin had gone gray as ash. His eyes were molten silver, glowing in the dusk. His teeth had become too many and too sharp. His fingers had stretched into something like claws. And when he smiled at me, I saw the thing behind the smile. The ancient, hungry thing that had been waiting in that mine for centuries. "You can't leave, Silas," it said in Gabriel's voice. "No one leaves. No one ever leaves." "Watch me," I said, and I shot him. The bullet hit him square in the forehead. His head snapped back. He stood there for a moment, swaying, then reached up and plucked the bullet out of his skull like it was a splinter. The wound closed immediately, flesh flowing like water. "Oh, Silas," he said, shaking his head sadly. "You still don't understand." He covered the distance between us in a heartbeat, faster than anything that size should move, and his clawed hand closed around my throat. He lifted me off my feet as easily as lifting a child. "You're going to die now," he said conversationally. "And then you're going to come back. You're going to come back, and you're going to help us. Help us spread. Help us grow. Help us turn this whole desert into our mine, our hunting ground, our feeding place." I couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, couldn't do anything but stare into those silver eyes and see eternity in them. See hunger that would never be satisfied. See the end of everything I'd ever known or loved. "Don't worry," he whispered. "It doesn't hurt for long. And afterwards, oh, Silas, afterwards you'll understand everything. You'll see what I see. You'll want what I want. You'll be silver and perfect and hungry forever." My vision was going dark. My lungs were burning. I was dying. My first death, there in the dust outside a cursed mine, at the hands of something wearing my friend's face. But just before consciousness left me, just before I slipped away into that darkness, I heard something. Hoofbeats, dozens of them, and singing, chanting, words in a language I didn't know but somehow understood. Apache. The Apache had come. Gabriel Thing's head snapped up, and for the first time I saw something like fear in those silver eyes. "No," it hissed. "No, not them. Not the singers. Not the..." An arrow took it in the throat, then another, then a dozen more, piercing its body from every direction. It screamed, that mind scream, that sound that lived in your bones and your skull and your soul, and it dropped me. I hit the ground hard, gasping, choking, trying to drag air back into my lungs. Through watering eyes, I saw them, 50 Apache warriors on horseback, surrounding the mine entrance, firing arrows and singing their chant, that word song that seemed to make the air itself vibrate with power. The Gabriel thing staggered, tried to run back toward the mine, but the warriors had formed a circle. There was no escape. It fell to its knees, and I watched as the silver light in its eyes flickered, dimmed, went out. Gabriel's face returned, just for a moment, and he looked at me with his real eyes, terrified and confused and full of regret. "Silas," he whispered. "Silas, I'm sorry. I didn't know, I didn't..." Then his body collapsed into silver dust, and the dust blew away on the desert wind, and Gabriel Cortez was gone. An old warrior, face lined with age and wisdom, dismounted and walked over to me. He looked down at me lying there in the dust, my throat bruised, my lungs burning, still not entirely sure I was going to survive this. "You are marked," he said in perfect English. "The mine touched you. You will not die easily now. You will not die at all, perhaps. Not for a very long time." "What?" I managed to croak out. "What was that thing?" "Hunger," he said simply. "Old hunger. From before my people. Before any people. It sleeps in the silver, waits in the dark, feeds on greed. Your friend woke it. Your friend fed it. Your friend became it." "And me? What about me?" The old warrior was quiet for a long moment, studying me with eyes that had seen too much. "You," he finally said, "are more interesting. You ran. You fought. You did not succumb to the greed, even when the silver called to you. But the mine still touched you, and that touch does not fade. You will carry it with you. You will attract other cursed things, other hungry things. Your life will not be easy." "Will I become like Gabriel?" "No," he said. "Not like him, but not like other men either. You are something in between now. Something new. Whether that is better or worse, time will tell." They sealed the mine that night. I watched them work, piling stones and setting wards, painting symbols in mixtures I didn't want to know the ingredients of, singing songs that made my bones ache. When they were done, you couldn't even tell there had been an entrance, just solid rock and warnings painted in 3 languages. "Stay away. Death lives here. No silver is worth the price." The old warrior gave me a horse and water and pointed me south. "Go," he said. "Live. Try to be better than your greed. But know this, you are marked now. The mine tasted you. Other cursed places will know you. Other cursed things will find you. Your journey is just beginning, Silas Crow. And it will be longer and stranger than you can imagine." He was right. That was my first death, though I didn't die, not quite. The mine had changed me, marked me, made me into something that couldn't die easily. And over the next 3 years, I discovered just how true the old warrior's words were. Cursed places called to me. Cursed things found me. I stumbled from one supernatural horror to another, barely surviving, learning too much about the dark corners of the world. Until I found the gold mine 3 years later, the one you might have heard about. The one where I died for real this time, and came back as this, as bones and dust held together by a curse even older than the thing in the silver mine. But that's a tale for another night.
You look troubled, friend. Good. You should be. The desert is full of cursed places, cursed things, cursed people like me. And now that you've heard this story, now that you know what's out there, you can't unknow it. But here's the thing that should really trouble you. I told you that story because you words to hear it, because you're marked too, in your own way. Maybe you took something you shouldn't have. Maybe you saw something you can't unsee. Maybe you're running from something that won't stay buried. I can smell it on you. That scent of curse touched, of doom walking, of someone who's standing on the edge of their own dark story. So let me ask you this, friend. What are you running from? And more importantly, what's following you? Don't answer now. You'll know when it's time to tell your tale. Come back tomorrow night, if you survive that long. I'll be here. I'm always here. And I've got more stories to tell. Stories that might just help you understand what's hunting you. Until then, walk carefully. Watch your shadow. And whatever you do, don't trust anyone who offers to make you rich.
That never ends well. My name is Silas Crow, and I'll be here when you get back. If you get back. Tomorrow night, I'll tell you about the woman in the dust storm. Beautiful, they say. Thirsty, I know. She took something from me I can never get back. And she's still out there, waiting, offering water to dying travelers. If you see her, friend, don't drink. Whatever you do, don't drink.